Welcome back, city builders. CodiakTheKodiak here. In today's video, we're going to be going over one of the 3 new content creator packs coming to City Skylines 2 this Tuesday. Now, these packs are all included in the Ultimate Edition of the game, so if you have been waiting for this content, fear not, because this content is on its way. In today's video, we're going to be going over the Dragon's Gate Content Creator Pack by Emperor Lee. If you missed yesterday's video, we went over Leisure Venues by Grooney, and tomorrow we're going to be going over Mediterranean Heritage by Zarix. All these packs come out on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. And then Monday, I'll have a video going over the newest patch as well as the 10 new free assets coming to the game as part of City Skylines' 10-year anniversary. And they're not just celebratory anniversary packs items, some of them are actually really nice, unique parks. So make sure you stick around for that video. On top of that, all of the music you'll hear in today's video is from the Jade Road Radio DLC as well. Now, before we get started, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and do not forget to turn on notifications so you can keep up with all the City Skylines 2 news, tips, and tricks. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, here we are in game, and today's video is going to be focusing specifically on Dragon's Gate by Emperor Lee. Again, if you guys want to take a look up in the annotations up above, you guys can take a look at the playlist where we've already talked about Leisure Venues by Grooney, which I absolutely loved. All of those Plopable buildings were absolutely fantastic, and I'm so excited to place those in my city. I think they might be actually the best creator expansion paid DLC so far in City Skylines 2, and Dragon's Gate definitely gives it a run for its money, especially if you're looking to build a Chinatown, because these assets are absolutely perfect for something like that in your builds, or even to complement the China region pack. Now, just a reminder, tomorrow we're going to be going over Mediterranean Heritage by Zarix, and on Monday we'll have a video coming out for the 10 free assets for the new free update that's coming to City Skylines 2, as well as going over some patch information about the newest patch and some things you should be prepared for. So without further ado, let's actually dive on into this pack here. Now, this comes directly from the pack description itself with a blend of tradition and modernity. Modernity, I always screw up that word. I don't even know if I pronounced it right, I'll be honest. This creator pack by community creator Emperor Lee allows you to create a vibrant Chinese-inspired market quarter. Let your citizens take a stroll down shopping streets adorned with classic elements such as lanterns and shop signs, or visit traditional temple that adds a touch of East Asian splendor to your cityscape. With vibrant red and gold, Dragon Gate will bring the fiery charm and elegance of Chinese architecture to your city. And we're first met right here with this beautiful commercial building. That these are all commercial buildings here, aside from 3 extra parks and a signature building, along with 1 service building too. So the first one here is this wonderful commercial building here, and as you can see, it has some notices and papers. Now, I obviously cannot read Mandarin, so I don't know what any of this says, but I think this is super sick and would look super cool even in an NA build in more of a Chinatown district. I think these buildings are absolutely awesome. They definitely scream Chinese architecture to me. On top of that, too, the roof color can be changed. You can see I changed the roof color here to be red. They're actually supposed to be more like this green color right here. And since this is the first pack to show off Zoneables, I do want to highlight one very specific thing, and something that I hope that we'll begin to see in future packs as well, is that all 5 levels of the building have different architecture. That's right. It's not just level 1 and 2 that look exactly the same like every other building in the game does. Each level has an individual style and upgrade. So what does this mean? This means that your Zoneables will have a lot more variety, especially as they level up. So while you may not get different levels of variation, so if you get a lot of level 1s, they'll all look relatively the same. But as they begin to level up, you'll begin to see more variety, and they do begin to change between different levels of variety. You can see here this building up over here, 9 Spring Street right here, this building, this lot right here, this beautiful one, if I might say so myself. I love the little back patio they got going on right here. Levels up to level 2 right here, which as you can see is just a little taller, adds a little height to each floor, but it's still a 2-floor building, changes the lantern style, but you can also see that the shape is exactly the same. So it looks like an upgraded version of the previous building. But then as it levels up to the next level, you'll notice that it completely completely changes style as it hits level 3. And then as it goes to level 4, it looks more like the original building style again. So you begin to see how leveling up the building will vastly change how it looks inside of your city. And this will also hold true for the Mediterranean pack when we get to that one tomorrow. I absolutely love that this is the case. I'm very curious to see how this plays out on whether or not variety in zoning type is actually going to be better for diversity in the builds, or if the individual build levels. Now, the flip side to that is that obviously we're not going to have as much diversity in the levels themselves. So as before, we'd have a lot of diversity in terms of more buildings in the level 2 or the level 3 or the level 4. But now instead, we're going to have a lot more building variety as it actually levels up. So if you zone an area over here and it's only level 3, and you zone over here and it's a level 4, it's going to have a lot of difference in that regard. So I'm very curious to see how this will affect city builds, but hopefully it means good things for the future in terms of getting a lot more diversity in terms of these building levels. It seems like there's been a refinement with every pack coming out, slowly adding new things that we're all kind of screaming for, and all of these packs have been in the works for quite a while, which means that all of these things that we've kind of been screaming about have already kind of been in development for quite a bit. Regardless of all of that, these buildings are incredibly high quality and incredibly detailed. With each new added pack, including the region packs on the workshop, the level of detail included in them is just spectacular, especially compared to the assets in City Skylines 1. I just can't believe the level of detail and meshes that we're actually able to get in City Skylines 2. These might actually be the most detailed buildings in the game, especially in the vanilla game in terms of DLC being vanilla. I'm absolutely in love with this level 5, adding the blue color to the building, this emerald, I guess jade green, not really blue, but just absolutely stunning. I love the way it looks here, and I just love the fact that we get all this diversity as it levels up. I'm very excited to see how zones and buildings will develop now that all of the buildings in both of these packs that are growables have 5 levels to grow into, with unique meshes, like truly unique meshes at each level. So much like previous packs that I've shown off here on the channel, just so you guys know, I do have them organized out. So these buildings right here are your 2x2s. These are your 3x2s. These are your 3x3s, your 4x4s, your 5x5s, and 6x6s, and these are all of the growables. So again, the diversity is not necessarily in we have multiple variations of level 1, but we have multiple variations of the building as they level up. Again, very curious to see how this differs from how things were done in the region packs or other content creator packs like the first few that came out, where we had more diversity in the actual level 1 or the level 2 itself versus having a actual different like aesthetic each level up. But each building looks so uniquely different too, especially as it levels up here. If you're playing with more of a Plopable style with Find It, where you can individually place down each building in order to completely manicure and build your city, I think you're going to have an absolute field day with this pack. I think if you're more into the Zoneables, I would maybe be a little bit more cautious if you don't have the Ultimate Edition and you're looking to buy these 2 packs. While I think these buildings are stunning, when I genuinely mean that, especially Dragon's Gate here are some of the most detailed, beautifully well-crafted buildings in the entire game. There is a little part of me that thinks that maybe zoning with these buildings would just be a little too similar to one another, and you're not going to get a lot of depth as a result until these buildings level up. Which is why I keep hampering in on the idea of using these assets as a Chinatown, a small section of your city that utilizes these Chinese building styles that are authentic to the China region, but can make up a small portion of your city to give it some diversity and character, some lore, including the idea that you have some Chinese expats moving into your city looking to create a sense of community in their new home. And again, each one of these buildings has such a unique style and look to it. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Again, very curious to see how these actually get implemented into people's cities as people use them as zonables. Again, I think as Plopables, these are going to work magnificently. The zonable aspect of it gives me a little bit of word for caution. But gosh, just look at them. Now again, as I said at the beginning of this video, or maybe it was yesterday's video, that these are all free for Ultimate owners. So if you have the Ultimate Edition of the game, it's included in your game. Even the back side of these buildings, which is something that we might not take a look at too often, is absolutely stunning in how cool it kind of looks here with these rounded windows, the detail that went into them here. The backside of this building looks like something that you would see in the backside of any commercial sector. Again, these buildings are all commercial. And again, as it levels up, I love the little signs on top here. I mean, this just feels like a cool little Chinese restaurant, maybe in the section of a city. Absolutely in love with these lots. I think they just look so great. If you're looking to get the most bang for your buck out of zoning, it would really make sense to do maybe 4x4 zoning, or at least 4 deep roads, because you get quite a bit amount of diversity in the 4 deep lots as well as the 2x lots. So the 2 deep lots and the 4 deep lots give you the most amount of zoning. So I think if you were looking to zone a Chinatown-esque district in your city, I would actually just leave the roads at 4 deep. So if we actually go into the tiles here, this would be the size of zoning I would actually take advantage of right here. Again, it gives you the most diversity of buildings when you do that, because if it fills in the entire lot from road to road, it will give you 2 different variations of that, or potentially the 2 different variations of the 2x2s or the 3x2s, depending on how wide you actually zone them. But that's not to say the other sizes don't have some really awesome looking buildings. I mean, they look kind of businessy, but they also look commercially. Again, as an American, I don't necessarily know what Chinese architecture actually looks like, but especially as you level up here, these almost feel like malls or bigger shopping centers that will have a lot more going on than maybe just one business. And then this building, I mean, this is a level 5 of the 5x5 lot. Looks so, I don't know, like official. Like this is actually an office, not like a commercial building. I think it looks super sick though. I really like this cut-in into the stone here as well. Then the 6x6 buildings are just absolutely massive, and the time and detail that went into building all of the intricate natures of this building, I just can't imagine how much time and effort who is Emperor Lee actually put into these buildings. Oh god, they look so good. They look so good. And this level 6x6, level 5 building has like a huge little patio up here for you to come and eat while you're busy shopping here. And it has a little food truck for hot dogs. There's a hot dog truck. Yeah, a little spot for hot dogs here on the rooftop. I think it looks so sick. While these are included in the Ultimate Edition of the game, another concern I do have is maybe the cost of these packs. I don't know how much these ones are going to cost. I would assume they're probably going to cost the same amount as the previous packs, which was $7.99. And to some people, this might not be worth $7.99, and to some people, it might be. And over time, they'll have to figure out what they think the actual real value of these packs are from a developer standpoint and how much content actually needs to be in them. But from a consumer standpoint too, I also think it's important that we understand how much time it actually takes these creators to make these assets, and how much that costs Colossal Order and Paradox to pay for that pack, and whether or not it's going to be worth it in the long run to pay for that pack versus the cost of the actual production of it. And there's the whole logistical balance of that nature too. Now, we're not done with this pack at the Growables. There are some Plopables as well. Sorry, not at well. First off, we're going to start off with the Grand Dynasty Hotel, a large hotel building combining Chinese and Western styles. It does feel like a little bit of a Holiday Inn style, but with like Chinese flair to it. It offers plenty of accommodations for tourists and business travelers. I totally get the style mix here. I think it looks super cool regardless. It has -1 import cost citywide, +1 attractiveness citywide, and +5 well-being within 1.5 kilometers. I think this building looks sick. I really like it. I could see myself placing it as like a themed hotel somewhere. This is a signature building. It is a commercial signature building, so do keep that in mind that these are all commercial zonables, and this is a commercial Plopable. Now, next up are some really cool and unique buildings that I'm excited to see more of in the future, and that's these Chinese gates. These go over the road and increase outdoor recreation. So we'll start off with the small one here, which I've only placed one of the small ones. It's right here at the end of the road. A traditional Chinese arch that is iconic architecture in China, and a symbolic building of Chinatowns outside of China. This goes over the road and actually takes over the parking spaces when you place it. adds 10 outdoor recreation, and the larger one does the same. The description is the same, but it's just a larger version of the actual gate itself. You can place it over the road like I've done here, or you can place it on the larger roads like this. I'll actually place another 6-lane road right here just so we can, ooh, it doesn't like that. Hold on. Let me place it right here so that way you guys can see this here. We'll go into the parks tab so you guys can figure out how to find it easier. Where is Dragon's Gate? Let me see. Here it is. Dragon's Gate's going to be under tourist attractions, and we can place the large road. No, the large road does not fit on the 6 wide, so do keep that in mind. That's actually what I wanted to test right here. Can't obviously do the small ones either, so do keep that in mind that you can't actually place that over this without adding a little bit of anarchy to the mix. Now, next up is the Chinese High School, a school for teenagers in the historical building. Provides the 2nd level of education and can be upgraded with an extension wing. So we can start off at 800 students, and it does have a bit of a historic style to it. I think it looks really cool. I think it would blend really well. All of these buildings would blend really well with the Chinese region pack, which I believe Emperor Lee did actually work on. So since Emperor Lee did work on that pack, it does totally make sense that everything does kind of universally work together and can help even grow your city out further since that pack does exist. So do keep that in mind as well, that we do have a bunch of free content to kind of work with this too. It's not just this stuff that's going to really add to your flair. So I guess there is that flip side of don't read too much into like necessarily how little diversity there would be in the zoning types here, because you can just mix in the region pack as well. But this is a really cool building. You do have this little back entrance here on the back side that you can have connected up to a road. And then we can have the 2 extensions. They'll take over these 2 treed-in areas here and add an extra wing on the back side, adding 400 student capacity up to 1,200. I really like the way this building looks. I could totally see myself incorporating this into whatever little Chinatown we have to add into that community even more. Now, last but not least is another really cool building that just absolutely screams China style here, and that is the traditional Chinese temple. Recently renovated, this traditional Chinese temple is not only a place of worship, it also attracts tourists from all around the world. Plus 25 outdoor recreation. It's under the tourist tab in the parks area. So we do have this leafy stand here selling snacks out front, but we can come in here to the actual Chinese temple. As you can see, it has like 2 little like pagoda buildings on the side here, and then you walk in through here and you have the little walls that you can walk through, and I mean, it just feels like a Chinese temple. It feels like the Chinese temple that I would imagine as an American looking at China themed ancient architecture. I don't know about ancient, but like, you know, traditional Chinese architecture. When I think of that, I think of this. I don't know. But that's the last building in this pack. I think the actual level of detail in this pack is significantly higher than anything else I've seen in the game so far. I think the intricate details and the handiwork that actually goes into these buildings that Emperor Lee has created is jaw-dropping to me, to be quite honest. Again, it might feel a little small and it might feel a little cramped. You might not be able to get as much diversity out of your initial zoning types, or if you have all the buildings at the same level. But the actual detail of these buildings and the fact that they can work so well with the China pack almost seamlessly because it's the same creator, so it's going to be a similar style, just adds so much to it that I think it just becomes like a cop for me. Like I would buy this pack. I would buy both of them. I would buy all 3 of these packs. And I don't know that I would say the same about the first ones. So that's going to be it for the video today. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to be going over Mediterranean Heritage, which you can see down here, the little spoilers at the bottom of the screen. That's what we're going to be going over tomorrow by Zarix. So that will be really fun. I won't waste any more of you guys' time. I've been CodiakTheKodiak, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.